Welcome to CMO School. If you have ever wondered what actually happens inside a fractional CMO school, the structure, the support, the strategy, why it works, and how my students are scaling to six figures and beyond as fractional CMOs, this episode is for you. I'm basically taking you on a little tour today to show you how the program works, why I built it, who it's for and not for, and what my students are experiencing inside. I've been wanting to record this episode for a little while because every time I talk about the program on Instagram or inside the DMs, I always feel I'm giving little bits and pieces, but there's so much intention behind how this was built and why it gets the results that it does for people. And I've never actually walked you through the full picture. So today we're going to talk about the story behind Fractional CMO School, what makes this program different from literally anything else out there, the structure, the support, a glimpse behind the scenes, and real student results. So the actual transformations that are happening inside the program and how we're doing that. If you're a marketer who knows you're meant to be in more of a leadership role, or you're craving more freedom, more spaciousness, more meaning in your work, or you're just tired of being the one in the weeds and you really want to be earning more, stepping into your next evolution of your career, this episode is going to give you a really clear sense of what stepping into the fractional CMO role can do for you and your life and your career. All right, let's get into it. I want to take you all the way back because I did not wake up thinking, okay, I'm going to build a training program for fractional CMOs. Absolutely not. It was not the plan. It kind of fell into my lap. And honestly, as a marketer, I had spent so many years feeling like, oh, I really want to earn more money. I'm burning out. Or, I had been in environments where I just didn't feel supported my life and my vision. And I really knew I loved marketing, but there were so many seasons of my career where I questioned if I wanted to stay in the industry, if it was right for me, had I lost my passion for it? And I realized it actually was not the work. It was how I was working, the environments I was in, the expectations, and really the lack of control over my time and my ability to earn the income that I wanted to earn. So fast forward, had my two girls, and everything shifted. I knew that I could not go back to working the way I'd been working. Crazy hours, 50-hour work weeks. I was in hustle culture deep. And there was just no part of me anymore after becoming a mom that could do the long hours and be constantly putting out fires and just being in this environment where it was constant pressure. And I remember thinking, I'm really good at what I do. I know I'm strategic. Why does it feel like my only option right now to the life and the vision that I have for myself is to grind and grind harder? I don't even know how that's possible. I'll be honest, I did not have a perfect plan when I left my job. I just knew that what I was doing was not working. And I knew there had to be a better way. I knew I wanted a business that fit my life, not the other way around. I wanted to have control over my time, when I worked, who I worked with, the kind of work I did, and really try to build a business around what I loved within the marketing space and be able to say, if it's something that doesn't light me up, it's over here. Kind of Marie Kondo my career. So I started asking myself, what could I do? How do I lead marketing, set direction, guide the team without actually doing everything? Is that a thing? And if you've listened to my podcast before or heard me talk on social, you've probably heard me say this, that when I found the term fractional CMO, it was like a light bulb went off in my head. I was so excited. It felt like everything I'd been looking for in terms of ticking the box on what I love to do and being able to earn great money while working part-time and having flexibility around my schedule. I realized the more I had learned about the role, it was a lot of the things I'd been doing in my career for years. And I just needed sort of that framework of, okay, how do I transition from what I'm doing now into this? So figured that out. That's a story for a little later. But I want to say, once I stepped into this role fully, and I did figure it out, which was a winding path, my business exploded. And once I was solid on like, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm focusing, in less than 6 months, I hit six figures in my business. And last year, I still honestly have a hard time believing this, but I hit $1 million, over $1 million in 1 year, not cumulatively, in 1 year in my business with one other CMO and a handful of dream clients. And I don't say this to be all gross and sharing revenue numbers. Like I know that can be like sometimes in marketing, but I say this because when I started this, my vision for this was, wow, if I could just replace my corporate income and work less, or maybe at the time I wasn't making the best money in corporate. I ended my corporate career working for a nonprofit, which was flexible, but the downside was a lot less money. And so I remember thinking, what if I could make a K per year? Like that was my dream. Once I got into this and I realized truly what I could make, my brain couldn't even comprehend the possibility. It really took me a while to wrap my head around what was possible for me. As I started getting into this work, a year and a bit, 2 years went by, I started to get so many messages from other marketers saying like, how did you do this? Can you help me? I want more freedom. I want flexibility. I want better clients. Like I want to do the work that I love and stop this hustle, this grind. It's killing me. So I kept answering the DMs, hopping on calls and trying to kind of pay it forward because I had so many people in my career do that for me. And it kind of hit me one day when I had a stacked calendar and I thought, I don't really have time to meet with everyone who's reaching out for me, unfortunately, as much as I wish I could. And I also feel there's a better way to do this. How can I impact more people at scale and teach people this? Because if you know me, I have always, from the beginning of working in corporate, been so passionate about people earning what they are worth. There are a few other programs out there that teach specifically how to be a fractional CMO. There's a handful more if you look at specifically the fractional model. And then there are a million that are targeted to agency owners and marketers trying to teach you how to hit 20K months or 30K months or 50K months. Most of the programs, quite honestly, focus on the basics that, you're a marketer. I know that you're discerning, you're smart, you're savvy. You know a lot more than the average consumer or a person who's looking for business coaching. So what you're looking for, if this is really a model you're interested in, is that you need to understand how do you make the transition from being the person who does everything to leading. I almost said just leading, but that is literally the problem. You are not just leading, you are leading. And I think that is one of the hardest transition is being able to let go of all the things you used to do, all the things you attach your value to, and being able to stand firm in the fact that you leading someone's marketing and doing all of the things that are required to do that well is value in itself and exponentially more valuable than you executing on everything. So, what is different about this program is I'm going to take you through a few things. Number one, it's built on real experience. When I was starting my business, I did a bunch of things. I've talked about this on podcasts before, but I tried to talk to a whole bunch of different fractional CMOs. I did take a program, and I essentially, after all of that, I came away from those interactions with a lot of the same questions that I still had around how do I make this transition? Okay, I think I understand my packaging and my pricing kind of at a high level. Okay, I'm going to charge 15K a month, but what do I actually do? What does the day to day look like? What's my first 30 days? What are my clients going to expect when it comes to strategy? Where does my role start and stop? What does it actually look like to lead a team? And a million more questions. So because I could not find the answers out there, I really scraped and looked through the internet, all the programs, all of the things. I know that this information is not out there in the detailed way that you're looking for, besides in my program. And I really had to muddle through and figure this out myself. And part of the inspiration behind creating Fractional CMO School was because that was painful. I lost dream clients. I had so many mistakes along the way where had I had something like this, where someone could have answered all of my questions and handed me the SOPs, the templates, the processes, the frameworks, everything I would need to show up and be an amazing CMO for my clients, it would have been so much easier. So that is what is inside of this. Real frameworks from my experience growing my company to six figures and then $1 million in revenue, working with some of the top creators in the industry, big brands, and having really happy clients. So that is all in there for you to copy paste into your business. Number two, You are not learning how to do more marketing. I am going to teach you, of course, how to be a CMO and some intricacies. For example, I'm going to be walking you in detail through how to set KPIs, how to do revenue projections as a CMO, etc. We're definitely going to be teaching the tactical pieces, but I'm not going to be talking you through, the basics of email marketing or how you should have a hook on your reel. You are smart. I'm not going to treat you like you're needing to learn the ABCs of marketing. You're going to learn how to think like a CMO, how to prioritize like a CMO, how to communicate with CEOs, because that is so important. And the way in which we show up and communicate to CEOs really influences how they see us and whether they view us as a peer or an order taker in their business. And that makes a huge difference when it comes to what you can charge and client retention. I'm going to teach you how to lead teams, how to create strategy, really freaking good strategy, how to set KPIs we mentioned, and how to make decisions with your KPIs, with all of this data to move the business forward. This is really like outside of the tactical skills, which you will get, this is leadership training for marketers. So what is completely missing in the industry? And I haven't seen this really anywhere in any meaningful way. It's exactly what I would have loved to have at the beginning. And again, what I have learned through many, many hard lessons. And I'm going to talk now a little bit about the level of support because honestly, it's unmatched. You get daily coaching from me inside of our portal, which is on Circle. I am in there not once a month. I don't have office hours. It is daily during the week, of course. You can bring sales calls, client situations, strategy drafts, whatever it is you're working through in your business, whether you are at the very beginning trying to position yourself or package yourself or get leads, or you have clients, you are a fractional CMO and you're like, I'm drowning. How do I decrease my scope? How do I build a team under me so I can scale? Wherever you are, you're getting feedback and coaching from me in real time. So you're not waiting around, you're not guessing, and you're not having to figure it out by yourself. You're also not having to fight for me on a group call. If there's not enough time to get to your questions, which is generally not a problem, you have my support inside the community on a daily basis. I really care about my students and your success is my success. So I am massively invested and I will be there to coach you as much as you're leaning in. The last thing I want to point out that's really different about this program is the community of experienced marketers. So experienced, not beginners, not people asking what a funnel is, not people who don't understand strategy, people who actually deeply understand marketing. Not only are you going to learn from me, of course you will, but you're going to learn so much from the caliber of people that are in this community. And I'm sure you have invested in different things before, masterminds, memberships, etc. And one of the best things I have gotten from any kind of investment I've made that is group related is the connections. And I am quite particular about making sure that people are at a certain level when they come into the program because I don't want just anybody to come in. I really want people who are ready to step into the fractional CMO role, or they're doing it and they just need a better way. And I want people who are serious. They know that they're capable of more. They have this desire and this drive to better themselves, to step into something that is challenging and creatively fulfilling and can really give them the business and the life that they've been envisioning. And because I care and I invest so deeply in my students, I really want to make sure it's a two-way street and that the people I'm allowing into the group are going to be adding value and sparking conversation and supporting other people. So I'm really, really proud of the caliber of people that have gone through the program in the past. Let's talk about the actual structure of the program so you can see how everything works. We're opening the door. I'm going to peek and give you a little behind the scenes view of the program. I built this program to be exactly what I needed when I was making this transition and building my business. And to be honest, I didn't want it to be this another course that was just sitting there in a portal collecting dust. And so a program component, the coaching component is really where it starts to bring everything to life, where we can really look at your business, your clients, the situations that you're in and you're struggling with or wondering about and coaching you in real time. And that is when things really solidify and start to click. And I wanted something that feels like, oh, I am supported. Someone has my back and I know exactly what my next step is. And I know how to take this information I'm learning and actually make it work for me and the kind of business I want to build and the kind of clients I want to work with. So this is how it works. It's a 6-month program that is on purpose. I don't want you to binge content. I actually want you to build a business, and you're a marketer. So I know you know this. That takes time. I knew from my own journey and from working with so many other marketers and students in the program that you don't create sustainable success in 2 weeks or a couple of months. It takes rhythm, it takes coaching, it takes real-time support as you're stepping into this leadership role, because there really is nuance to what you're going to learn and then how you bring it to life. So the 6 months gives you the space to grow, implement, and then shift how you think. And it also allows us to move through some of the phases. So again, if you're at the beginning phases, it allows us to get your clients. And then what does that look like to work with them? And then what does it look like to add more clients and different types of clients? And then are we thinking about client retention? And there's also options. We don't need to talk about that today, but there's also options to stay on longer term if you would like, if you need more support, if you're finding it useful to have the coaching on an ongoing basis. So, another thing I'll mention is you get immediate access to the Learn to CMO course when you join. And this is lifetime access. So, outside of your 6 months, you, even if you decide not to continue on in the alumni group, you still retain access to the course and all of my templates. And so I'm going to walk you through what those are because that is absolute gold. Inside the course, I teach you what the fractional CMO role actually looks like, how to position yourself with clients. And that starts from the very first touch point, your lead intake form through discovery call, sales call, onboarding, ongoing conversations, and how you're positioning yourself really matters at every step of the way. I teach you how to package and price your experience into high ticket CMO offers, how to attract and close high ticket clients, the dream clients, build out your list of I would love to work with insert whoever dream client. Let's make it happen. I also will teach you how to actually be a CMO inside the client's business. So when we look at the different packages, like it's not rocket science. You can find average package pricing for CMOs online anywhere. And the hard part is what do you actually do? So, okay, you've sold this package for $2,500 or you've sold this package for $15,000. The difference between somebody who is burnt out and dying as a fractional CMO and someone who is not is because they understand what you do and don't do at certain levels. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine who is charging about $4,000 a month for the kind of work that I would be doing at a 15K package level. And the client she's working with just doesn't have the budget to increase. And I was talking to her about even if you slightly decreased your budget, let's say you take away part of that so they can go hire some support executionally and get a lot more help over there, pull you out of that work, suddenly you've decreased your revenue potentially by 25%, but you've decreased your workload by 75%. So all you do is you go get another client at a way higher price and you're working way less and making me more. It might be hard to math visualize that on a podcast. Point being, when you are doing the wrong scope for the wrong amount of money, you're going to burn out. I've seen it. I've talked to so many fractional CMOs who are like, yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure about this model. It's just really burning me out. And if I hear that, it is because of how you're doing it. So I teach all of that and more, so much more. I cover how I'm using AI in my business. This is just scratching the surface, but it is literally everything around how I've set up my business, how I run my business and work with clients, everything you would need to actually be a CMO. And nobody that I have seen on the market is teaching things at this level of detail. It's really quite high level. I have found personally with my experience when I was looking that I was leaving still with a lot of the same questions or they just weren't able to answer in detail what things looked like. And so I wanted to make sure that this was detailed enough so that you could walk away with all of the answers you need. I also add to my trainings all the time. I'm updating things when my processes change. Also, if there's something that comes up again and again with our students, I'll create a training on it. And the cool thing is when you're a fractional CMO student, you get lifetime access to this course plus updates. If I'm putting out new trainings on, let's say, AI or a new strategy offer I'm doing, you're getting all of that, even if you're no longer a student, which is really cool. I don't know a lot of programs that do that. You also get my entire CMO template vault, which is kind of insane. Basically, this is every single thing that I've built behind the scenes for all of my clients and my business. Like this alone, to be honest, is worth the price of this program. You are getting my pitch decks, the exact strategies I've built that I have charged $20,000 to clients for. You're getting planning templates. You're getting SOPs for literally everything I do in my business, client onboarding documentation, campaign planning workflows, how to project revenues, KPI template sheets, every single thing that you need to do for a client. I probably have a template for it, and it is in here with the training you need on how to use it. It's all yours. I want you to be able to take these and jump right in and have your very first client be like, holy shit, you're amazing. You must have been doing this for a long time. You're going to look like a pro because you have things that are like battle tested and have been used over and over and over with 7-figure clients that have expectations up here. Because the thing that takes so long is iterating on those types of things and then going out and learning what works and doesn't work and reinventing the wheel. And why do that when you can just take everything that I've created? Another piece of the program is that we have live group coaching every month. There are multiple calls each month where we are going through coaching as a team, and sometimes they're structured. Sometimes I might be walking you through how and why I price clients at a certain level, or how I think about, let's say, setting marketing KPIs for the year or evaluating team, etc. Or they might be open coaching calls. I really like to see how the group is doing, what is needed at the time, what's going to be most valuable. But we talk about everything on these calls, from client strategy to packaging to pricing to sales call training and how to sell and pitch yourself, how to get clients, tricky client situations, confidence and mindset pieces, literally everything. So we dive in, you get clarity. The goal is that you're walking away with answers. And if you've ever been part of a program like this, I find you learn so much from the challenges and questions and things that other people bring up too, because we're all going through the same stuff and it all can come up in different times in our life. So I just get so much value from that as well. I already mentioned this above, but you get daily coaching from me inside of the platform. You can drop your wins, questions, drafts of things, struggles, and I'm in there coaching, reviewing, giving direction. You'll get Loom walkthroughs. This is unlimited, which is probably insane. I may be changing this at some point, but this is the thing that the people who lean in, they tell me this makes the biggest difference. Just so you know, the people who lean in are getting, in some cases, more of my time than my 10 to 12 to 15K per month clients are getting from me. That is insane. You lean in, you take advantage of this. You're getting one-on-one support from me at a literal fraction of the cost. And you don't have to wait. I'm in there all the time. I love this part of the program. It's my favorite. If anything, I'm the people that are quiet, I'm poking them and being, send me stuff. Come on, what's going on? What's your win for the week? Where are you struggling? Let's get things going for you. So that part is so invaluable. We talked about this already, but you'll get a community of experienced marketers. So beginners are not welcome. I'm refunding them. They are not welcome in the room. If you're a newbie in marketing, this is not the program for you. You're not a CMO. Go get some experience. Come back to me in 5 years, maybe more. What we are really priding ourselves on is having a room of smart, talented marketers who know what they're talking about. And I can tell you with certainty that I would not be where I am in my business without the connections I have made. I get so many new clients through referrals. And then I also, through marketers that I've met and other people in entrepreneur space, I've met so many people that I've been able to pull into my clients' businesses. And I actually have a lot of subcontractors. I train all about this in the scaling section of my program, but I have a lot of different subcontractors where I will mark them up and bring them into my clients. And it is the coolest thing because not only am I helping them make money and supporting them, and they're so fucking cool, so talented, so amazing. But then it's also another revenue stream for me, which has been actually a decent line item for me year over year. So lots of training around that. Point being that the community and the connections you make are so, so valuable. And this is such a high caliber of people. So you're surrounded by other marketers, building the same type of business, learning from each other, normalizing the success. That for me was one of the things that, I took a program that I feel was, again, I walked away with still a lot of questions, a lot of things that I felt were not there that I needed. But the one big takeaway for me was being surrounded by people that were charging rates that I never in my wildest dreams would have thought about charging, not even remotely. But it gave me the confidence right out the gate to go and pitch that. My very first fractional CMO client was a $15K US per month retainer. That was significantly more than I was making in my full-time salaried role in corporate before that. And just to remind you, if you don't know much about my background, I had never held a CMO title before. Never. And I came out the gate charging $15K per month, and I still charge that. Still have clients on those retainers. And I will say, being around people who are dreaming bigger, standing confident in what they believe they are worth, that is contagious. And I want you to normalize this. I don't want you to sit here and think, oh, it's because Jess has this or that, or she worked for that brand, or she had, no. I am not special. There is nothing about me that is different between me and you outside of the fact that I have the audacity and confidence to go out there and say, this is what I'm worth. And I know there are people that will pay that. And there are. Again, that is the power of being surrounded with the right people in your life. And that is the kind of person I want in this room. Speaking of community, this is another piece that I absolutely love about the program. I bring in guest experts to do trainings, and these are people who I have paid thousands of dollars to learn from, or they are people in the industry who are the absolute best at what they do. And again, it's probably one of my favorite things about this space is just the connection and pulling wickedly smart people together. So I think as a CMO, one of the big misconceptions is that you have to know everything. And particularly if you think, oh my gosh, Jess, am I going to charge $15K per month to a client and I don't know all this stuff? Well, that's okay, because you have me going to help you. You're going to learn it. And no CMO knows everything. They don't. What a good CMO does is they surround themselves with people who are smarter than them in areas where they have gaps, and even in areas where they don't, because it's always great to have a thought partner and a sounding board to improve you and your perception and sort of just look at things a little differently. So we cover so many different topics. There's trainings there already, and there's always guest experts coming in. And if there's ever anything you want to learn, let me know and we can pull in the right people. But we'll cover topics like high ticket sales, money mindset, how to generate leads as a fractional CMO, how to set boundaries with your clients, operations for fractional CMOs. And then I do bring in a lot of different marketing specialists so that as a CMO, you can learn a little more about different areas that might be a bit of a, weaker area for you. Like, for example, I'll tell you one of the areas that I would say is my weak point would be analytics, like Google Analytics and data. I'll laugh because I feel my students and my team would probably be like, what? Because I have really supplemented that by surrounding myself with other people that I can lean on and learn from. So what I mean by that is maybe you've been in social media most of your career and you're like, I'm pretty confident I know social. I could come in and do a pretty wicked social media strategy for someone, but I don't really know about setting up their analytics, or I've never done a rebrand, or I've never done a website, or maybe I don't know ManyChat very well. We have trainings on so many of those topics. And if there's something, again, that we want to learn, we bring someone in. And what's so cool is as a CMO, you don't have to know everything. It's all about how you think and how you make decisions. So if you know a little bit where you're like, okay, I know we need to be tracking these things in your business. We need to know how your landing page is converting, and we need to know, all the funnel metrics, how this person's funneling through your offers, or where you're losing them in the sales process. You just need to identify what you need to do. You're not the one doing it. That's it. Then you bring in an expert. And if you don't have an expert, well, you've just met them because they were a guest in my program. And again, that is such a cool thing about this is I've been able to have these experts and say, hey, Allie, I know my client needs this data thing set up or this UTM strategy for their analytics. I would literally rather watch paint dry than set something up like that, or learn to set something up like that, but I'll bring in Allie and she loves it. That's her jam. And then I get to learn from her and say, okay, tell me what I need to know to be able to find the information I need or train my client's team how to do it. And then that's it. I don't have to get into the weeds, roll up my sleeves and learn. I just need to know what needs to be done and pull in the right people. Monthly expert trainings, my favorite. I am a continual learner. I love these. Now that I've walked you through the program structure, let me tell you about what actually happens once students get inside. I wanted to share a few of the transformations that have happened for students in the past because honestly, these are the moments that mean the absolute most to me. I want to tell you about my student, Miranda. When she joined, I really saw a lot of myself in her. And Father Figure by Taylor Swift is coming into my brain right now. When Miranda joined, she was in her 9 to 5. She'd really outgrown it. She was craving that next step in her career, craving something more, feeling burnt out, and feeling really unsure about how to make the transition. She had been a marketing generalist. She knew she loved the leadership side and the strategy and really had set a goal for herself to be able to leave her 9 to 5 and start her own business as a fractional CMO. So she said to me, I will never forget this. She emailed me one day out of the blue and said, thank you so much that this program had totally changed her life. She said, this program was the catalyst I needed to launch my own business. I put in my notice at my 9 to 5 and landed 3 contracts before I even left. So she was able to replace her income. And I actually just caught up with her the other day. She is about to hit her first 20K a month in her business. Can you imagine that? So before she even stepped out the door of her 9 to 5, she had her first 3 CMO clients lined up and she had everything she needed to hit the ground running. A year later, she's still doing so well in her business and seeing so much growth. Cheyenne is another student that joined early in her career. I love her. She had some self-doubt at the beginning. She was like, you know what? I don't know, like if I'm ready to be a CMO. I don't know if I have what it takes. And after chatting with her, I could see she was so smart, so capable. She just didn't have the confidence. And she really needed to see and be around other marketers and be shown that she had a lot of what it takes. And it was really in how she was positioning herself, what she was charging, and the kind of work she was and wasn't doing. So this is what she said. She said to me, I made $100,000 within 6 months of joining Fractional CMO School. It gave me the confidence and security to quit my 9 to 5 and become a full-time CMO. So same thing at the time. She was working, it was a contract, but full time for a business that she just was not passionate about. It was draining her. She hated it. And it really gave her what she needed to step out and like actually even out earn what she was making there, which was phenomenal. And I love that she mentioned confidence because honestly, it is one of the biggest things. Like most people I talk to are severely underestimating what they're capable of because they just don't believe in themselves. And I think that mindset work, how much that means to me. But one of the things that is most helpful in terms of instilling confidence is having the right coaching and having others around you almost be a mirror, looking at them and being like, okay, they're fucking brilliant and smart. And if they're doing it, I can do it. And you start to normalize what's possible for you. I want to talk about Lillian. So She felt stuck. She had a really interesting, sort of more data science-based background in marketing. She wanted to get out of the weeds. She was burning out. She just needed to reposition herself and her expertise and repackage her experience. And she wasn't sure how to do that. She didn't know how to position, package, how to actually show up and do the work of a CMO, and wanted to learn from someone who had done that. She said to me, I made my investment back in the first 30 days. And I know she was one of the students who leaned in, and she got so much out of this program. I feel every single week I would log on and see messages from her. I just sold another strategy client. I just did this. I just did that. And I catch up with her from time to time, and she is killing it. Like, she often is way too busy for the leads that are coming her way. It is just so cool to see that. And this is exactly what happens when you get the clarity, support, and coaching that you need to step into this role powerfully. The last student I want to tell you about is Emma. She actually had been really focused in the copywriting and personal brand positioning space. She had been undercharging and attracting clients who just really didn't value the strategy that she brought to the table. She's so strategic. Brilliant. She said to me, this is the best investment I've ever made. I've completely revamped my offer suite, updated my website, and I have sales calls lined up with dream companies. This was month 1, 2 of the program. Insane. And I love seeing that for her. Across the board, I find my students are leaving making 2, 3, 4 times the amount of money and working less because they understand to their core what they bring to the table, and they know now what their value is. Some students are hitting 8K, 10K, 12K per month retainers or more, or having multiple clients at those high ticket retainers. Can you imagine what that would look and feel like? And when you know how to do those retainers where you're not bending over backwards and working at 12 p.m. and answering all of these Slack messages and killing yourself all day in meetings, you know how to do it in a way that feels good and still gives you time to take care of yourself, go for walks in the day. That is when it feels amazing. I just love seeing these transformations. I love hearing my students say things like, I love marketing again. I finally feel like a leader. I'm confident. I feel respected. I no longer feel like I'm in the grind. I have my time back. It is so much more than earning money. And I mean, yes, that has been such a big unlock for me and for so many of my students, but it's really been this up level of how I see myself, how my students see themselves, of their identity, and the freedom and spaciousness they get to create in their life, and the passion, bringing the passion back to what you do, and no longer ending your days feeling, I'm so burnt out. I want to talk now about who this program is actually for, because again, not everyone is the right fit. Fractional CMO School is for experienced marketers who are already strategic thinkers. And if you are a specialist, you're a social media manager, or you've been a marketing manager for a while, I want you to give yourself more credit because you're probably thinking strategically. You probably have a reason for doing something. And if you think about that one time, haha, the millions of times your clients have pushed back on you, or your manager or someone on your team, and you've been able to say, well, no, I did this, or I'm recommending this because of this, this, and this, that is strategic thinking. You probably are already doing that. If you've led projects or owned channels or shaped campaigns, if you've put together a strategy and brought that to life, tick, you're checking the box. If you're craving more leadership, you're craving that next level in your career, or maybe you're a fractional CMO and you can feel this ceiling you keep bumping up against. There is this next level of, okay, I've maxed myself out at this as a fractional CMO. And even then, there is another level. There's another unlock of what does this look like to scale this with a team behind me if you want that. It's someone who's craving that next iteration, that next version of themselves when it comes to their business. And then it's someone who wants to be paid for their mind, not their output, not their hours, not their hands. So if you're that person who you're sitting there thinking, I'm kind of done writing social posts and emails and sending them out and endless revisions of landing pages and in the back end of Zapier, setting up automations. You might like that stuff. Personally, quite honestly, I like it. I do it for my business a lot of the times because it's creative and it's interesting, but you quickly tap out as far as what you can do, what you can charge for that kind of work, and the amount of hours you have in the day. So if you're someone who's like, how cool would that be to just say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is the vision. Go do it. If that's something that sounds appealing to you, that is this role. And lastly, somebody who wants freedom in their schedule and the ability to choose the work that they do. Someone who really wants some flexibility. You're not chained to a million Zoom meetings or certain hours or certain days. You want flexibility. One of the coolest moments for me, this was probably a few years ago now, was when we went away to Europe for 3.5 weeks for one of my best friend's weddings. I think I had 3 clients at FinK retainers during that time and a handful of advisory clients ranging between, 2,500 to 5,000 per client. And I think I worked maybe 10 hours and I was still able to keep up with my work because of the model and how this works. And that was wild to me. I remember going over the finances that month with my fractional CFO and just thinking, holy shit, I barely worked this month. I was away and enjoying Europe and in a wedding, and look at what I still was able to do. It was such an unlock from the old version of me who had attached my worthiness to the amount of time I would put in. I remember sitting at Lululemon at the head office, and I would get there at 7:30 in the morning sometimes. And I remember there was a few people, how dare they, who had boundaries and would leave at 5 o'clock. And I remember thinking, ugh, they're so lazy and unmotivated in their career. And it is just so funny to me what I've been able to shift as far as my mindset around that. I can't unsee what I can see now. And I can just see how much hustle culture and attachment to your output drives our working culture these days. This model has been such a shift for me. So yes, if you're looking for freedom in your schedule, this is it. And then freedom in the work that you do, being able to say, because there's different kinds of fractional CMOs. So being able to say, this is the stuff I love. I want to stay in this lane, and that is what I do. And that's the value I bring to the table. That's all you do. That's amazing. You don't have to go do the other administrative or executional things that leave you feeling drained. It is for marketers who know execution is not the ceiling of their career. They know they're meant for more. It's for fractional CMOs that are looking for, they maybe you're doing this work and you're sitting there thinking, this isn't what I thought it would be. And I'm like, no idea how to draw boundaries around my clients, how to charge this much, how to actually do the role well. I'm burning out. Or maybe you're hitting your own ceiling and you're wondering, how do I scale this more? Is there other revenue streams I can add? Is there, what does it look to scale with a team? And you're looking for a roadmap, someone who's done it, because you're smarter than someone who's going to just fumble along and spend years trying to figure it out themselves. That it is so much faster and you're going to be making so much more money sooner if you can learn from someone who has done it. So I want to tell you who it is not for. It is not for brand new marketers, not for baby marketers. Go learn your marketing and then come back. It is not for people looking for instant cash. Yes, that is going to come. I've been talking a lot about revenue throughout this whole episode, but it is not quick money. It's not like, I can't underscore enough the amount of work and the amount of resiliency and just stick with itness that it takes to get this going. But I can guarantee you it will be way faster with support. And then it is not for people who are hesitating and want to stay in the weeds, where they're like, I still want to create all my content. No person is going to pay $15K a month CMO retainer rates for you to write their email copy or post social media captions. Like, it just financially is a bad decision. It does not make sense. They can find numerous email specialists or social media coordinators at a fraction of the cost. Yes, lots of them aren't good. And you're probably amazing at what you do, but it is still not 15K a work, 15K per month work. And when you're doing, you are completely limited by your hours in the day, which is not how this model works. If you're ready to step into more leadership, confidence, income, and joy, finding the passion in your work, this is for you. Here's the part that I really want to make sure you hear. Really want to make sure you hear this. You do not need to know everything to be a fractional CMO. And you probably already know enough. You just need to have clarity, leadership, the right way to think and communicate, systems so you don't burn out, and support. So how to actually integrate everything into your business and with your clients in a way that feels really good. The biggest thing is the willingness to step into a bigger version of yourself, because this is going to push your edges and make you feel uncomfortable. It happens to me quarterly where I'm like, oh my God, I think we all have imposter syndrome. It's so normal. And I'll be honest, the biggest shifts students experience isn't financial. That's part of it, but it is identity. They go from being, okay, I'm a marketer or I'm a strategist to I'm a leader. I am the CEO of my business. I'm valued. I'm confident in the value I bring to the table. And once that clicks, I literally see such a shift and their whole business changes. If this episode sparked something for you, if you're listening and thinking, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I have been wanting and I didn't know it existed, then I would love to invite you to join us inside Fractional CMO School. Enrollment is open right now. You can click on the link in the show notes or go to fractional-cmo-school.com to learn more and join us. And if you're unsure, just DM me. Seriously, it's me in the DMs. I'm happy to talk it through with you. Big voice note, girl, send me one. And I am also not a believer in high pressure sales. I am not going to be like pushing you and lying to you and telling you it's right for you and it's not. Shoot me a message. We'll chat. Thank you so much for being here. Truly. I hope this gave you a clear sense of what Fractional CMO School actually looks like and why I'm so proud of it. My goal has always been to help marketers build businesses that feel good, that feel spacious, that feel aligned with who you are, and allow you to live the life that you're envisioning, and for you to believe you're worthy, because you are. If you loved this episode, please share it with another marketer in your life who needs to hear it. And as always, thank you for tuning into CMO School. I will see you on the next one.